This is Personal Financial Series number 7 and the last in this series of getting your personal finances in order. So if you've not seen 1 through 6, please go back and look at 1 through 6 before looking at this one, and then we'll conclude at the end. So if you've seen those already, you get the idea. You have to cut expenses. There is waste in everyone's personal finances. There is things you're spending too much money on that you could cut the costs with. So we're going to look at these some of these expenses. We've already gone through auto expenses, insurance expenses, food expenses, and so forth. So you get the idea of what to do in each category. Please bear in mind that this will take 3 to 4 months to really fine-tune your personal finance. But if you put the effort in, it'll be well worth it. I've personally done everything that we discuss here, and I've got the finances in turbine engine mode. They're just humming along down to the penny, as cheap as I can make it. A minimalist, if you will. So you're going to go to the other categories and streamline the rest of your expenses. There is waste everywhere. Take a look at your utilities. For instance, can you get by with closing off some rooms and not having them air conditioned if you're not using them very often? Shutting lights off, weather stripping the house around windows and doors. What we're talking about here is cutting pennies and dollars to come up with a large amount of savings. It's much easier to cut $1 or $2 than to cut $100 somewhere. So you want to take these one chunk at a time. Take a look at the internet. If you have home internet, are you overpaying? Are you able to cut back the broadband or finding another company with a better deal? Subscriptions. You might have subscriptions that add up to $40, $50 a month and have forgot about them. Maybe the YouTube premium plan where there's no advertisements. Maybe the satellite radio. I have satellite radio because we travel quite a bit and we can get radio coverage throughout the United States. I went to them and I said, you know, I just want the streaming version instead of the radio version. They gave me a deal that was cheaper to keep what I had than it was to get the streaming version, like $8 a month. Cable TV. We eliminated cable TV at one time and just watched stuff on YouTube using apps. If you had child care expenses, can you cut those? This might be a controversial one here. Does the spouse really need to work? I would venture to say that a majority of 2-income households are because they have lots of stuff, maybe a lot of debt. I worked with a guy at one time. His wife was very accomplished. She was a CIA agent, and she worked full-time, and they had some kids. And over dinner one night, he was explaining to me how they went through what she was making and what it cost her to work. And let's just say somebody makes $50,000 a year. Are you losing $50,000 if you stopped working? No, because you're not going to be paying taxes on the $50,000. Maybe you're losing $35,000 or $38,000. they were spending about $20,000 a year on childcare expenses. So she stopped working for the CIA to stay at home and raise her kids. And after they did a complete analysis, cut back on all their waste in their financial categories, it was about the same cost for her to stay at home as it was for her to work. She had a high clothing budget because she worked in the office and she had to look good with fine clothes. So when they cut all that stuff out, it didn't cost them anything for her to stop working. And then cut anything else you don't need. In the last one, we talked about whether you really needed a particular car. One time when I changed careers, I sold a car I had. I bought a Toyota pickup with 170,000 miles on it for $1,200 because all I needed to do was drive 8 miles to my place of employment and back every day. It had no air conditioning, no power steering. I lived in an arid desert area and it was hot. Did all the repairs myself, but it cost me hardly anything just to drive back and forth to work. And then we had the other car that we used for family stuff. So one of the biggest things here is stuff equals stress, and stress costs you money. If you've got 3 cars and 2 drivers, you're paying for a car for no reason. That's going to bring on stress. And that's going to cost you more money. You're going to have to work more. Okay? Causes of stress, financial problems, one of the biggest ones. So the whole theme here is to have less money going out, and in the long run, that reduces your stress. You want to cut waste first, then things you absolutely do not need. So if you are in a position now where you are looking to streamline things, start with cutting waste. We went over that in the first couple of episodes of this series. And when you get into that mindset, you will find things that you absolutely don't need. You might have a closet full of clothes that still have tags on them. I've known people like this. I personally sold 3 kitchen appliances when we upgraded our kitchen appliances and got $1,400 for all 3. Instead of it sitting around, instead of taking it to the dump, there are people out there that will buy used stuff. One story that I read a few years ago was that the average family has about $3,500 worth of stuff in their homes that they don't use, that they don't need. So go through and cut waste. Waste is stuff sitting around you don't use and could be money in your pocket. Waste is overpaying for utilities, car insurance, you name it. Get rid of things you absolutely don't need. Back to the car insurance that I mentioned. Look and see if you can get by with a $1,000 deductible instead of $500. What I do is I've got $1,000 deductible. I got $1,000 in a separate bank account that I never touch. And if I needed it, it's there. If I have a $500 deductible, I'd be paying an extra $100 or $2 every year. Think of it along that way. So if this financial series made sense to you, if you got some ideas from it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And I promise you, if you take these steps seriously, you'll have a financial benefit. Thanks for watching. Please consider these points we covered here, and we'll see you on some more videos.